Yep. Live video is starting.
I didn't receive a notification.
This is how we do it.
It just says not telling me that. Oh, because the notifications are off? Is that where it's on?
Nope. No, I told you just to go.
To go where?
There you go. Okay. Paste. Sure, no. There you go.
All
right. We are live. Hello, people.
Oh, okay. So where we at? All right, I need to know.
We're live. We
have
like
four or five cameras. This is pretty intense.
Yes. But
hello.
We can see ourselves. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, if you're joining us, feel free to comment down below. Let us know where you're watching from or where you're listening from. And we are just so excited to welcome you to episode 1 of our podcast.
Numero uno.
This is how we do it. We've been planning this for a while. Mm-hmm. And even when we decided we were finally going to do it and launch, we still waited over a month just to get things prepared and ready. And so we are so excited to actually be launching our live podcast. Again, this is episode 1. I am Joraine.
And I am Marc.
And we are
the Costales team.
And so we are a husband and wife real estate team. We're running a multi-million-dollar real estate business, juggling faith, family, real estate, and just life as we know it and how we do it. And we get asked all the time by our peers and people that know us, how do you guys do it? How do you run on no sleep? How do you sell so many houses? How do you have time to serve at your church? And how do you guys work together as a husband and wife team and not kill each other, right? So this is our behind the scenes, kind of like Marc said, Wizard of Oz, pulling back the curtain, sharing with you how we do, and what we do.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a lot of talk about how we run our business, how we run our lives, how we run our marriage, how we run our kids, how we run, well, not run our kids, but how we run our household. And that in itself is a challenge. Even if you take one piece of that, it's tough for some people, right? Depending if you have a spouse that is not as, so to speak, acceptable of who you are, but also acceptable of all your flaws as well as all the benefits that you are to the marriage, right? Or even the business. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we've been through so much drama, been through so much at the beginning of our relationship, but also at the beginning of this, this business that we've started together. And it's just, there's a lot of mental toughness that needs to happen. That's why we need faith. We need it in our lives in order for us to function properly. And that's the reason why we wanted to incorporate that with our business, with our lives. And it's a very, very important part of how we stay focused and how we stay, faithful to our faith, and also just faithful to our kids and our business and our clients. So, so we are pulling the curtain back. A lot of rawness is going to happen between us here and everybody else that's going to be watching. So, so this is kind of like an intro. I mean, this is basically us looking at 4 different cameras. And
it's like we should look at this one for 15 seconds, look at that one for 15 seconds,
hello.
Look at that one for 15 seconds.
It's too much time. We got too much looking. We're kind of look around our house. So
yeah. So anyhow, if you're joining us for the first time, this is episode 1 of our podcast titled, This is How We Do It, Faith, Family, Real Estate. Who are we? We're a husband and wife real estate team based out of the San Francisco Bay Area and the Central Valley, running a multi-million-dollar real estate business. And we're part of an international coaching program. We're parents to school-aged children. We're active and involved in a variety of community organizations, our church, our kids' schools. We love to travel. We love to explore new places to eat.
Oh, yeah. We love to eat.
And so we're just going to dive right into it. We do have some questions. And if you guys are watching this live, I see you. Hi, Marc. Hi, Cyril. Feel free to drop questions, and we would love to answer your questions. And so one question is, what made you decide to be a real estate agent? And what made you, hold on, sorry. It says, what made you decide, hold on, sorry.
Blow it up, there you go.
I know, technical difficulties. Okay, so what made you decide to be a real estate agent, and when were you able to say that this is the one, this is the job that I like, and this is where I will make a difference? So why don't you go ahead and answer the question first.
Okay.
And go ahead and...
So, I made a decision to be a real estate agent when, and I tell this story a lot. I was I was part of the corporate world. I was working for ADT as an alarm installer. And a lot of the business that was going on there was long hours. I would wake up in the morning around 5 o'clock in the morning, drive from Hayward to, I believe it's San Jose, certain parts of San Jose, off of Trade Zone, really putting this company on blast. But off of Trade Zone, go to a meeting for a few hours, and then literally be out in the field installing home alarms to Bay Area, even as far as Salinas and Monterey. Green Valley was the farthest I went, and that's somewhere south of the Bay Area. And I remember going to these meetings, not going into this job, and like it was very stressful. There was a lot of things I didn't like about it, and I remember the tipping point was when I come home really late. Mind you, getting up at 5 a.m., leaving the house at that time, and then coming home about 10 or 11 o'clock, and then my daughter, I would tuck her in, and she says, "Papa, I don't even see you anymore." And that kind of crushed me, because it's like we're working so hard to provide for these kids, and it's like we're not there physically and being present, right? So my wife has been trying to get me on her team. She's been like trying to tell me to get your license, get your stuff. I've been holding back so much because like I know I have to take a test and I hate taking tests. But anyways, she, again, she stopped trying to draft me, and I was just like, all right. So that time that happened with my daughter, I was like, you know what, I think that's it. This is where I have to make the decision to join my wife and be in real estate. I was already doing real estate stuff, just not, I guess, a licensed agent. What he would be, or that person would be doing, as far as being a licensed agent. I'd be doing all the other stuff. So that was the point where I decided, like, you know what, this has to be the one. Not it is, but it has to be the one. So yeah, that's me. Mm-hmm. And you?
And me, so I've been in real estate since 2004, so almost 20 years now. It is going to be 2023 next year, so yes, almost 20 years. And I've basically done everything that is behind the scenes of running a real estate office. And so I tell this story all the time too, and I share this with people. Basically, started from the bottom, and this was during a time prior to the recession of 2006, 2007, 2008. We all remember that time, and everyone was getting their real estate license. Everyone was jumping into mortgages. Everyone was buying all the property, and then later trying to sell it. And so this was a time where someone said to me, straight out of high school, they said, you should go into real estate. And so I didn't really know much about real estate. I didn't know if it was something I wanted to do. And so I actually started as a receptionist at a real estate office just to get my foot in the door, to see if it was something that I wanted to do, to see if it was something that I liked. And so I started as a receptionist, and then very quickly I kept getting promoted and promoted. So within the first, 90 days, and then quickly after that, I kept basically jumping into like different positions and being exposed to a variety of jobs within a real estate office. So then I was managing listings, I was doing market analysis reports, I was doing real estate marketing and advertising. I became an assistant to a top producing team. I got my license. I mean, just basically everything you can think of. I was coordinating escrows. I was helping manage offices, training agents, reviewing contracts. I mean, basically everything under the sun that you could think of that happens in a real estate office. And so that's what I was doing until it was kind of just the natural flow of my journey and my path in my real estate journey. And I became a solo agent selling real estate, and then now we have a team, and here we are, one of the, top producers in real estate, as well as nationally ranked among the top 1% of all realtors in the United States. So, that was my journey. It took longer than Marc's journey to get here, but we all go through life and through our own separate circumstances and situations, and even though we're both kind of at the same place now in our career, we have different backgrounds and we've learned so many different things. And so
all right, good stuff. So you don't want to hear any about the accolades and all the awards and stuff, so that's neither here nor there. So the next session we have here, it says, what can you tell other people who are struggling to find their purpose or their path? So you want to go?
That's such a good question, because I kind of just talked about the purpose or the path, right, that I took. And so for me, it kind of just naturally flowed in that trajectory or in that direction. But your path was a little bit different, but I can tell in what we are doing and how we are running our business that it is definitely something that is meant to be. I know it sounds corny, right? But I always tell my clients, I'm like, the right house will find you. If they're struggling with a real estate transaction and let's say they're not finding the house that they want as quickly, or maybe it's priced too high for their budget, or they're getting beat out in a multiple offer competitive situation, right? Or some people right now are kind of perturbed because interest rates have gone up this year, and so they feel like that hinders their ability to buy. I always say the right house will find you. What's meant to be will be, and things that are supposed to happen will happen in their own time. And so I feel like, if you're struggling to find your purpose or your path, it's something that you will find, eventually. It doesn't matter if you make 500 mistakes, as long as you keep getting back up and, in 501, don't make that same mistake the 501st
Okay,
yes.
So
you know what I'm trying to say.
Anyways, so that's that is very important, and reiterating that question. It says, what can you tell other people who are struggling to find their purpose or their path?
Can you look there though?
Of course, I'll look right here. Audience over here. Oh my gosh! All right, so people that are struggling to find their purpose or their path, right? You have to be able to look into yourself, right? Look and see and picture yourself. Where do you want to be, right? What do you love to do? Find what your passion is, right? And if you're struggling, you just really need to ask you need to do a self audit, right? You need to know what's going on in your life, where you want to be, who you want to be around. Maybe you got to cut some friends out. Maybe you need to, cut some people that are not elevating you and people that are not, pushing you to be better than yourself, and just kind of, you don't want to be complacent in life, right? So there's always going to be more, right? And again, that struggle, because I grew up from a very, very humble beginnings, and I feel that I don't want to get back to that point. I don't never want to hit rock bottom. I don't want my kids to experience what I experienced as a kid. Yeah, there were great times, but there were, also some times where they're very embarrassing, right? But you look back on those things. I have no regrets, none at all whatsoever, because those regrets and those mistakes catapulted me to where I am now. I use those mistakes as stepping stones, and everybody has to make mistakes, right? You have to fail forward in order for you to progress in life. And I always say that's the reason why faith is so important. And I'll tell a very vague story. We aren't just realtors. We'll talk about how many hats we wear, but we're not just realtors. And I'll tell you that flat out. I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger. But I'll tell you a story. We were interviewing somebody to join our team. I won't say when, because that might pinpoint who it is. And I could tell on his face that there was something that was there was so much on his shoulders, right? And while Joraine was asking him the questions that we put out as far as interview questions, she came to me and she said, "Hey, so do you have any questions for this person?" And I said, I closed my book. I closed my book of the questions that I had, and I said, "Let me ask you a question, person."
I'm so sorry. Excuse me.
Okay, that's gonna make good audio. Anyways, so
sorry.
Is there any more? In that gun?
Just 3.
No, just 3? Okay. Anyways, so I asked this person, I said, "Let me ask you a question. I could tell that there's something weighing you down, right? And I could tell the confidence. He couldn't even look me in my eye. It's not like he was lying. It's just he just did not feel confident in himself. And I told him, I said, this probably isn't the position for you. But what I want you to do when you go home, I want you to, go where you go as far as your quiet time is and just spend time with God, right?" Just told him that flat out. I said, blatantly telling him there is no job for you here. But I'm not there I'm telling him to be real, but also be like, "Hey, bro, this is not the position for you. I want you to do something for yourself." Told him to go home, spend time with God, and just listen to his voice. Discernment, right? Very, very important. A few months later, I see him at a church event. I mean, I kid you not, this guy's demeanor, his whole aspect of his life, he was so confident, he was so vibrant. And he's seeing me, he's like, "What's up, Mark?" And I'm like, "What's up, man?" And, "That's you?" Oh, okay. No, but, and it's just his whole demeanor changed, right? And to me, it's like, I don't know if I helped him find his purpose, but I helped him get out of whatever rut he was in. And to see him before, like literally, if we had pictures of before and after of who we talked to and how like vibrant they looked, it's a totally different thing. And like I said, I'm gonna leave this as a cliffhanger. We are not just realtors. And with this story, it may have helped him in his path of finding who he was, what he's about, and what maybe put him in a different perspective of how to look at life. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's the reason why faith is so important, and it's the reason why we needed to have this in part of this podcast. And it's very, like I said, it's very, very important. Your mental status has to be very, very important. So,
yeah. And so, like Marc was saying, some people will take longer to find their purpose or their path, but there are no regrets. I agree with that completely. And you do have to fail forward. Mm-hmm. Sometimes even people that are in their love life, right? For the single people out there or people that are looking for relationships, it's like sometimes you have to go through a few frogs to find your prince, right?
Okay, that you want to go with that story, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, there's really no regrets in life because they're all lessons, and you can always learn and take something from every single experience in life. And you're all the wiser for it. And especially compared to people that didn't go through that. And sometimes you think about your life experiences and you're like, why did I do that? Oh my gosh, that was so dumb. Mm-hmm. Why did I put myself in this position? Or why did I allow this thing to happen? But again, it makes you all the wiser to know the difference moving forward and looking back at that experience and saying, okay, I'm never going to repeat that again. I'm never going to do that again. Or that was something that I had to go through in order to catapult me into my purpose or onto the path for my life. And like Marc said, those mistakes are stepping stones to lead you to a higher calling, a higher purpose, a higher sense of self-realization and getting to know yourself. And I always think about the analogy of an arrow. I heard this somewhere one time. And an arrow, it moves forward, but in order to move forward, it needs to be pulled back first. So if you can visualize an arrow, it needs to be pulled back before it can be launched forward. And so I kind of look at situations in life sometimes as we're going through a time where it's that season where things need to be pulled back before I can be launched forward. Sometimes you feel held back or stuck in a rut or feel like you're not making progress or there's no momentum, but it's just that season of stillness. Or sometimes you feel like you made 2 steps forward but 5 steps back. Again, it's just that season of being pulled back to give you that momentum to be catapulted into your future, almost like a running start, like people have running starts. I don't run. I'm not a runner, but I see when people want to like hop over a fence sometimes, they like back up and then they move forward and they run and yeah.
And I think, just to piggyback off of that, think of yourself, right, in a car. There's a reason why your rear view mirror is so small, right? And what you need to see in front of you is bigger, like your windshield, right? So I use that analogy because it's important, right? I look in my rear view mirror because I want to be reminded of where I don't want to be, right? Because if you look in the past, you keep steady looking in the past, look what's going to happen in front of you. You're not paying attention to what's in front of you. So you could miss your blessing. You could miss those opportunities. You could miss it when it's right in front of you because you keep on looking back. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and again, they give you multiple ways to look in the back, right? Just like, oh my gosh, here's my left side. Here's my blind side. Oh, here's my rear side. So it's just imagine they're so small. Because imagine if it was flipped and that mirror was like as big as your windshield. You will never know what's in front of you. So, I think we beat that question to a bloody pulp right there.
All right. So, last question. What is fulfillment? Okay, I guess it's not the last question.
No, it's not, but okay.
There's actually a lot of questions after that. But next question is, what is fulfillment for you? How do you feel when you achieve it? And do you think fulfillment can be easily achieved?
Answer the first one first.
Yeah. Okay. So like Marc was saying, right, when it comes to your purpose or your path, it's also recognizing your passions, what you love doing, what you're good at. For example, we're great at helping people with real estate, and we love helping people with real estate. And we recognize that it's not just the job. It's just not something that we do. It's who we are, and we're changing lives and making a difference in people's lives. And so it feels really good when we help them achieve success in the ability to sell a home, buy a home, sell a home and buy a home at the same time sometimes, or upgrade, and basically just change the trajectory of their lives. And so I find that so fulfilling. And it's not always easy, but it can be done. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'll let you answer all the questions. So the next one is, how do you feel when you achieve that fulfillment?
It's great. It feels awesome.
Or have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have many times.
No, what I'm saying, I'm answering a question. So, and it says, do you think fulfillment can be easily achieved?
Yes.
Really? Easy like that?
Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, right? But I feel like if you're meant to do that, and if you're graced and anointed and you have gifts and talents, which we all do, some things will come easily to others, and some things will be harder for others to go through, right? But like I said, it's possible. I mean, look at all the great people in history and all the paths that have been paved before us in showing us what is possible and what is achievable. Even like the 7 wonders of the world. And you think about all these things and you're like, man, I could not build a pyramid, with my bare hands. But some people can.
Still debatable.
No.
Anyway, so my question, my turn to answer. So what is fulfillment for me? Whenever we get a new client, somebody that's new, someone that we come across that needs help, especially when it comes to real estate, they need something that needs to be filled, right? I always find like a challenge Like we've had people that say, hey, we want to get married, but we also want to get a house before we get married. Done that. Checklist. Done. We want to be able to buy and sell a house at a certain time. Done. Want to be able to sell it for X amount of dollars. Done. Breaking records is what we do, but the fulfillment part, for me, is when I'm able to get those heartstrings pulled on and actually live up to what we say we do, right? And when that is achieved, the fulfillment, right? There's no amount of money that could fill that achievement, because you've met their expectations. They probably exceeded it, and it's like there's no amount of money that can make you feel that way. Some people are more like, oh my gosh, yeah, $1 billion, but again, there's a lot of problems that come with when you get that stuff. So
yeah, more money, more problems. In the wise words of someone. Is it P. Diddy? Mace?
Mace,
No?
yes.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. Do you think fulfillment can be easily achieved? It can, and it depends on the person that's trying to achieve it. Because if you're being mentored, if you're seeking help from somebody, so let's just say me and Joraine are trying to help somebody get a house, right? For instance, we can't want the house more than them. It's not like, hey, buy this house already, put the money down so we can do it. It doesn't work like that. We want you to be motivated as well. You got to put in work too. This is not just us. We're going to help you and guide you, but we can't want a house more than you. Like, we're not going to get any of that equity if in the event that you sell that house, So again, the motivation has to be there, and it can be easily achieved. It just really depends on the person that wants to achieve it. If you want to buy a house, do the things that you want to do in order to get there. Fix your credit, save up some money, get a better job so you can earn more. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do so, right?
Or a second job.
Get a side hustle, something that you actually show on paper that you're making it. Now, drug dealing, you might not want to do any of that, because you can't show paper. You can't really show that and say, hey, I've been doing drugs for 10 years and I don't have a W-2, but I have a stacks of papers, But I mean, again,
different kind of paper.
You ain't got the paperwork, but you got a friend named Ben. But anyways, again, you can't just, it can be easily achieved. It's just depending on the person who wants to achieve that particular goal.
Yeah. Even
right?
like realtors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many realtors in the United States, but only a handful of them are actually doing any business, right?
The statistic, tell them the statistic.
Yeah. What is it? 95% of real estate agents fail within the first 5 years of getting their license. And so that's a huge percentage of failure in our business. And so a lot of people, again, right, they make the mistake thinking that real estate's going to be easy because they see Selling Sunset or these shows on TV. And so they think like, hey, I could do this. But again, sometimes that's not your purpose. That's not your path that you're supposed to take just because you see everyone else doing it.
You notice that on all these shows, they don't mention any kind of paperwork. Oh my gosh, there is so much paperwork. And I throw up because I'm like, dude, that's so much reading. And again, you notice this, they show all the glam. Oh, I'm going to get this Maserati and I'm going to go tour Tay Diggs and see this multi-million-dollar house. It's like, yeah, it could get that way, but you act like that person just woke up and was like, oh my gosh, I know Tay Diggs. No, they had to build a relationship with somebody to get to the next relationship, go through a whole bunch of hardships in order to get those relationships done. So it's like people don't just wake up and all, unless you got connections, but I mean, again, it really just, there's so much where I can go with this, and I don't want to unpackage it. I don't.
Another topic for another episode. Maybe we shouldn't have talked about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about reality versus, what is it called, virtual reality or reality TV? So, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so last question. Now this really
is... You sure?
This really is the last question.
Okay, all right.
So, the last question is, do you think faith, family, and career go hand in hand? Do you want to answer first?
Gosh, let me think.
I know my answer.
Go ahead and answer.
Okay. So I definitely think they do. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about all the role models and people who are in public service.
Wait, where are you looking? I need to know. Because I keep trying to figure out which camera you're looking at. You know, I'm like that one guy from Moana, that little crab. It's like, like, I don't know which one. I'm trying to figure it out, but she keeps on moving. You got to tell me which camera you're going to. All right, so we're looking at, okay, there. Okay, well, what's up there? Okay.
So...
You're looking at a different camera.
I lost my train of thought. Okay. So,
yes, you do.
Do you think faith, family, and real estate go hand in hand? Yes, because you think about all these people that are in public service, and just to give some context to my answer, no. I used to think the answer was no. That you could live your personal life separately from your career life, which was separate from your personal spiritual life, which is separate from, how you parent your children or your relationships with people. And I used to think that these things were all compartmentalized and they were all different and they were all separate. But in reality, everything you do is going to cross over or bleed into other areas of your life. So, for example, people say all the time, or at least when I was working back in the corporate world, I always felt like the norm, or I don't know if anyone's ever even said this, but in my mind, people would say, leave your family life at home, leave your work life, and there's always this separation of like church and state, right? So it's like there's all these different boxes, and they want you to compartmentalize whoever they are. But that's how I grew up thinking it was supposed to be. But now that I run my own business and I run my own team, there is so much crossover. Like, my clients have been to my house. They've been to my kids' birthday parties. They've been to our housewarming. We've gone to their house. We've hung out with them. We've gone to their kids' birthdays. We've gone to dinner. I mean, there's just so much crossover. Like, our clients are people we know from church, like people we've gone camping with, and everything we do all just kind of blends together. Because you can't be one way at home and then go out into the public and be a different way that is not aligned with who you truly are. And I feel like that's why there's so much minutia in the tabloids in the world, because people will present themselves one way and then behind the scenes they're a totally different way, right? Versus with us, like, what you see is what you get. Right? So
sometimes we're a little bit too much.
Sometimes you see too much, and sometimes you get too much from us. But, what you see is what you get. And so there are many times where I've had clients and we've gone through a situation and we really just needed our faith to push us through a difficult situation. And there were times where there were situations with the family, and faith really needed to get involved and be a part of that to help move us forward, or to heal things, or to make us whole. And there's just so many different things and ways that we can go about this, and this is probably another topic for another episode.
We're living in another cliffhanger. Oh my god!
I mean, I did answer. The answer is yes. I feel like all those things definitely go hand in hand. It's hard to do them all separately, especially if all those things are not aligned. So it's like, you can't say, oh yeah, I love Jesus and I am so super spiritual, and then you're gonna go out and be like Jeffrey Dahmer and
well, that got dark real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a real graphic example, right? Jeez. But, okay, maybe I'll stop talking now and you can answer the question.
Like a feather done fell in my eye. I don't know what the heck. Okay, anyways. All right, so do you think faith, family, and career go hand in hand? I truly believe that it does, because it's almost like you can't have one without the other. Right? Yes. I mean, it's not like you can have a career and have you can not have a career and have, faith and family. You might not be a happy family because you might not have anything to do, but I think it does. And the reason why is because not every single person is going to be out there for us, right? And it's going to be the vice versa. We're not going to be the right person for, you know, other people. And I think that that's also very important. There have been times where it's like, I haven't heard one person though say, "You're too much of a family person. I'm not going to work with you." Like, I mean, I've never heard that before. But I did hear that somebody said that we were too religious, which...
This is another episode.
Right. Okay, so...
Time.
Anyways, I mean, I want to be able to give my examples too. I mean, you had like 4 minutes. Anyways, but I mean, yes, it does go hand in hand because I don't know how I could have a career and live it and do it and then have faith and have a family, and I just don't know how you separate those. I mean,
you can.
Three, right?
Okay.
You can.
You definitely can, right? We've run a business with all three compartmentalized and separate. We've also run a business with all three kind of commingled and together. And we like it better with it all commingled and together.
Yeah, because I mean,
I guess it's personal
preference. Honestly, you can't. All right. You can't be like going to your family and be like, "Hey, I'm a religious person," and then go to your career and be like, "I'm not a religious person," and then go to your faith and be like, "I'm not a religious person." You know what I'm saying? You can't just be. That's why it's so much harder. It's like you're lying to yourself. Why would you want to deprive people of who you truly are? Right? I mean, there are some people that I know that have seen me snore. I mean, like, I'm very, very raw. In fact, you get me outside of the workspace, like I'm very transparent, and I don't want to hide who I am.
Even in the workspace.
Even in the workspace. I mean, I want to be professional. I'm not going to go to work in like some shorts and like a wife beater. I'm not going to do that.
Although Marc used to.
I used to because like again, you're talking about dealing with the biggest decision that one person is going to be making in their life, besides getting married, because it's a pretty big decision though, right? But I'm saying the biggest financial decision you're going to make in your life. And when people, if you showed up and we're like, literally, it's almost like the whole what's that movie with Will Smith?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness, right? And when he walked up in there, he had a tank top on that had paint and all this stuff. It's like, would you hire that guy? I mean, quite honestly, when you're running a multi-million-dollar business, you're like, ooh, I don't know. See, but you know what? There's a thing to that. Again, that's also readable. You got to be able to read. Anyways, but I mean, back to the question. We're going way off topic. Yeah. But yes, do you think faith, family, and career go hand in hand? I truly believe it does. And if it doesn't for you, then I think, again, self-audit is very, very important to do. Because, again, you don't want to be fake. And people see through that, so. Yeah.
So which camera are we looking at?
We're looking at this one right here, I guess. So, okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Episode 1 is in the books. Episode 2 is coming up. As you can tell, there's a lot of cliffhangers, a lot of topics that we want to be able to put together. But also let you guys know who we are as a family, as realtors, and as a family-based business, right? So this is I'm Marc.
I'm Joraine.
And this is Costales team, man. Out, man. This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Yeah, I'm not a big singer, so and I'm not gonna dance to Montel, so. But maybe, yeah, I'll dance one. But anyways,
yes. But if you guys have any questions or topic ideas, we'd love to hear them. Feel free to drop them in the comments, and or DM us. Reach out to us anytime, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on episode 1, your feedback, your questions for an upcoming episode, possibly, and thanks so much for tuning in and joining us, and we hope you guys have a great week.
All right.
And weekend.
Episode 2 coming soon.
Say cheese.
I'm not gonna say cheese. Bye. Okay.
We should smile in each camera and say bye as we look.
Peace. Bye.
And then we exit out.
Okay, so we exit this one out. How do you exit this one? We're gonna exit out. Boom. And then.